on Sports!
All right, Bitterman on Sports crowd. We're back for our second episode of the week. I'm here with Chris, or no, let's start over again. Broadway Chris Fletcher. All right. Gary the Assassin Kin.
Uh-huh.
And I'm going to be Dave Sweetness Finoli. Because it just covers, sweetness just covers me.
Yes, it does.
You reek of sweetness, no
yes,
question.
It does.
Well, I think I do. I think I reek of it.
That's half the battle, right? So
I'm thinking, but you know where this sweetness is going this weekend.
Where you headed, Dave?
I'm going to be driven to the motherland.
Going to the Big
House, Michigan. The Big House.
yes.
For the Michigan Army game. It's a God knows a dream since the early 70s to visit what I call the greatest place to go watch a college football game.
So are you going to be like Ned Beatty and Rudy? You're going to make that little statement about this being the greatest sight that these eyes have ever seen?
You will see that on Facebook this weekend as I enter the stadium. I will do it, Ned Beatty. I was going to originally wheel from Deliverance of Ned Beatty, but I decided against that. You know, that might bring back some acid flashbacks to you, Fletch.
Well, it's always good to pick the correct Ned Beatty for any situation.
I agree. Now, we have a guy like Bob Sproul who is watches the show and, you know, is a good Facebook guy. And he has a thing where he brings up the book of the day. And today's book of the day, Students of Lust. Her grades were poor, but her sex ability was good. The only way to seduce a male teacher and get better grades was to show him what she had to offer. It only cost $1.25 in the day.
Twice the price.
Amazon ebook, is that what it is?
I'm thinking. I don't know. Bob finds these things. So that'll be our book of the day. The official Bitterman on Sports book of the day. That's
a good plug. We have to look that one up.
All right. Fletch, while he's talking combat sports, can you find us a passage from Students of Lust?
Oh, I'll do what I can.
They're in the same league, both of them. I mean, you talk combat sports and that, they're kind of in the same. What did one writer say, that boxing was a red light district of sports? He was right on the money. I mean, that's pretty much an
Why don't you yell up to Patty so she can do something while we're on? Because Chris is entertaining us now, so he can't look this up.
Okay.
All right.
Oh, it's the book's name.
Well, let me go back again here. Chris, can you sing a little song?
I'm sure I'm going to be successful with this, but I'll try.
Students, the first edition, too. Apparently, there was a second edition of Students of Lust somewhere. So it's by a gentleman
on sports here.
The author is A. Bunch. A. Bunch is the author's name.
You really want me to have a passage looked up where I'm sitting?
Have Patty look it up. I want her to feel part of the show.
I think we'd be better off one of us fishing when one's talking.
All right. Okay. You tell us about combat sports. Fletcher, you listen to ask a follow-up question. I'm looking up.
You look it up. You are the leader of this orchestra, so.
All right.
And it's your friend that's responding with this classic that we need to all review.
All right. Go ahead, talk.
Two things. Holiday weekend, college football start, nobody pays attention. Last Saturday, Vasily Lomachenko. I'm not sure he's the most exciting guy that people are saying. I mean, he's kind of like Floyd Mayweather. He's too good. But if anybody saw it on ESPN Plus, again, awful time, 4 o'clock in the afternoon with the start of college football. But he fought Luke Campbell, a decorated Olympian from the UK.
Yep.
Campbell fought well. Campbell fought pretty well, but he was just completely outgunned by the talent level and the preparation of Lomachenko, which is what we're seeing on a regular basis. There's very few rare talents that come along like this. I'm not sure he's got the punching power that would sell tickets to the casual sports fan. But in terms of technique, in terms of skill, I honestly think this guy could beat anybody between like 130 and 154. It's a rare animal, like a Henry Armstrong from the past. Guy's just so talented. Campbell was a decorated amateur, and he made him look amateurish in a lot of that fight, although Campbell did come to fight. Good fight. ESPN deserves some credit for putting it on, although, as usual, so much product today came on an awful time.
Yeah.
The other thing I'll mention is coming up this weekend. Again, awful time. Abu Dhabi is where the fight is held, MMA fight. Comes on pay-per-view, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Again, second week of college football.
2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Because of the time difference. I mean, poor planning. UFC's not guilty too much of poor planning. This is poor planning to me. 2 of their best fighters, this guy Khabib Nurmagomedov from Kazakhstan, Russian, one of the best athletes in that sport, the guy who shut McGregor up, who everybody can't stand, about 18 months ago, against a guy, Dustin Poirier, who, quite frankly, to me, is the best boxer in that business. A guy who could probably box professionally. It's a tremendous clash of styles. It's going to be a very interesting fight. I have a feeling nobody's going to watch it because of the time that it's on, and that's a shame. But it is one to, if you're looking through the sports pages and you're looking for anything combat sports, probably check out the results of that if you don't buy it. This one's probably worth buying because it could go either way. I mean, I don't think Nurmagomedov has ever been in a guy with this kind of conditioning and this kind of boxing skill in his entire career in that mixed martial arts business. But on the other hand, when this guy from Russia gets you down from his wrestling career and everything else, you're beat. McGregor made so much money for that whole business. He got in there against this guy. He was a wipeout. 27-0, never lost. You don't see too many 27-0s. Losses because you get clipped. So that's the past weekend. Good fight. Top flight fighter. In boxing, should check out Lomachenko. Interesting on me this week. These 2 guys are both good guys, both very talented at what they do. Tremendous clash of styles. Should be very interesting.
Did anybody know from the UFC that Pitt was going to be in the 4th quarter of their game at 2 o'clock?
I think they should have thought about Duquesne and Walsh kicking off at 4 o'clock, in my view. That'll be the time of the main event. They should actually – I'm sure Dana White was thinking about that. But no, seriously, it's just an awful plan. Like, I mean –
that's horrible.
Some of it is timing when you have fighters based upon when they fought or injuries. And Nurmagomedov was suspended for quite a while because of his after the bout stuff with McGregor, which I'm sure everybody heard about, even if you don't care about this business.
Yeah, I remember that.
I mean, he was suspended for a while. But Poirier's coming off a huge win against a guy, Max Holloway, who's one of the better fighters in the whole business these days. To put it in Abu Dhabi, I know you have to plan arenas and you don't have control of this, all this kind of, but to put it there at that time of day, in this time of the year, is just really poor planning. It's something you don't often see White and his lieutenants guilty of. Not a good move.
Not. What do we got in the heavyweight world?
I mean, it's interesting. I mean, I think I don't know how you guys feel and if you guys get some of these websites that send stuff out, but it's clear that the groundswell for Ruiz is growing. I mean, Joshua continues to act like a horse's ass. He denigrates the greatest British heavyweight of all time, to my mind, of Lennox Lewis.
Yes.
All Lewis was trying to do was give him some honest advice. I think Lewis is right on. Lewis admitted in some of those comments that he made mistakes by not training hard enough. For Oliver McCall, one, which he avenged. Also, his loss to Hasim Rahman, which he avenged. Not too many guys will do that. Lewis can be a little pompous, but he at least was honest about that. Joshua's comments recently just really annoyed me, and I think they annoyed a lot of people around the boxing business or just people who like the sport. He said he wasn't motivated for Ruiz, and he didn't take it. I mean, what a denigrating comment is that? You weren't motivated. You got your ass floored 4 times in 7 rounds. I mean, honestly, I think this guy and his promoter continue to alienate people. He really has it. He said he took on the world in his 16th fight. Let's look at that resume. There isn't much on that resume. And in fact, it is starting to look like American Deontay Wilder said. Others have said Luis Ortiz, this guy doesn't want to fight anybody of any significant risk. because he can make so much money over there by fighting me. It's looking correct. Then he says this kind of crackpot stuff. I think there was a lot of people who rooted for Ruiz anyway because he was a sentimental favorite because of the body and nobody knew him. Honestly, I think I'm not trying to put any personal in this. I think there's going to be a lot more people watching this rooting for Ruiz in this second time because this is the height of pompousness for a guy who has accomplished nothing and has serious flaws. And I don't think after watching this sport for 30, 40 years, you can really correct the things that quickly. I don't care. I don't think it's going to look a lot different than the first one. We'll see if I'm dead wrong. I hope it does for the sport. But this is not the way to be acting.
Well, Gary, the thing that strikes me about Ruiz is his hand speed. I just can't figure it out. A guy
right
big has that kind of hand speed.
A man of that kind of body. But people forget Clarissa Shields, the American female larger fighter. What she said was true when she was interviewed by DAZN before the first fight. She said, people don't realize this was a decorated amateur. Ruiz got to the quarterfinals for Mexico in the Olympics. I think it was in 2008. He was 101-4 as an amateur.
Yeah.
I mean, people don't understand how significant that is. That's the highest level of competition.
You watch the fight, you see he's a talented fighter. He's
a very good mover, and he moves his head, and he's
hard to hit for a big guy.
But he's got a lot of hand speed, and when you weigh 260 pounds, if you hit somebody, they are going to go if you hit them right.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Yeah. This is not your normal dad body fighter. This is a talented fighter.
He has been avoided his entire career. His only loss was to Joseph Parker in New Zealand, which the organization of WBO heavily investigated, and the judges were suspended after. If you don't take that away, 28-0.
Yeah.
I don't care. You get the 28-0 at that level of professional boxing, you got something you're doing right.
Yeah. Yeah. And he's the heavyweight champion. So
a lot of people rooting for him with these obnoxious comments. Now I'm motivated. We'll see what happens this time. All this selling the fight is nice. This isn't the WWF. I would not say any of those things if I was his promoter or him. Just show up for the fight, win it, beat him, maybe another money round comes.
Quite frankly, if you get knocked down 4 times in 7 rounds, it's easy to become unmotivated. But he got his ass kicked.
Bottom line is he did. And
that's a quality point, Dave. Quality point.
I don't know for sure. I'm not trying to go out on a limb. They say the rematch comes easier. I have a feeling, and not because of my feelings about what Josh was behaving like or his promoters behaving like, that is the truth, and it is very hard to correct. Lewis corrected his errors after he had a decorated amateur career. He was already an established pro. Even McCall in the early 90s. That's not what Joshua is. 16, you took on the world what? I mean, he had a couple quality opponents there, and he was hurt against both of them, including a 40-year-old Klitschko.
No.
I don't know what the hell they're looking at. I'll be honest with you. I really don't.
Well, it's gonna hopefully be one of the more popular heavyweight fights of recent years, and it's something I might buy. Boom.
The mistake you hope doesn't get made is about a year ago, Joshua and Wilder, or 2 years ago actually is going to be, hard as that is to believe, in December of the previous year, Joshua and Wilder had a great fight, and we haven't seen it since. Yeah. I mean, hopefully, if it's a good fight, and I hope it is for the whole business.
I hope it's a 2-round ass kick.
Well, I mean, taking my emotions away, I just hope it's something that draws people, and I hope it has some shifting tides. Sport hasn't had that. The big guys sell. My point, though, is if it's a good one, particularly if it's a good one, and then you let 2 years go by, you've killed every bit of momentum. I like Fury personally. Fighting Tom Schwartz and now this guy Otto Wallin. I fought boxing. I never heard of either one. Do you really think you're going to get people back to that when you do that kind of thing with that kind of delay?
Yeah.
You're not. So hopefully, if it's competitive, it comes back quickly because you lose so much momentum when you have that situation. So
you and I are getting it, Fletch. Gary, you drive out. What do you got today, Mr. Fletch?
Well, the big shock of the week was the retirement of Indianapolis Colts quarterback Andrew Luck. Well, he announced, or I guess better, somebody announced for him that he was going to be leaving and not playing the season, or maybe even ever. Luck had enough. He fought through a lot of injuries. This guy's a big quarterback. I mean, he played quarterback like a linebacker, and unfortunately that took its toll on him. The injuries were too much for him, and I really think that the Colts have to take some blame for that. I mean, in the years he was there, this boggled my mind. I went back and looked. They spent only 2 first-round picks on offensive linemen. Now, you get a quarterback like that, a talent of a generation, why don't you put your money into trying to protect him? I mean, yes, his contract ate a lot of the cap, but,
Well, that's maybe the cap, but they put money into their offensive line.
And maybe Luck saw what was in front of him and just didn't want to endure that pain anymore. I mean, maybe that reluctance to get him some help is why the Colts weren't so quick to try to collect. They could have collected the money to crawl back from his contract for him leaving, but they're not going to do it. He earned somewhere north of $90 million or something like that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, and before people say anything about him being highly paid and he should have sucked it up, just shut up. To borrow a phrase from Gary, it's baloney.
I mean, he's 29 years old and he's quitting his career. So all this talk about money. He's a human being.
I got a drink.
It is baloney.
Okay, say it.
It's baloney. Fletch is right on. He can take it. That's right.
Yeah.
Almost immediately after the announcement, the fan backlash came. And, they're booing him, and some sports people talked him out. And that's such bullshit. I mean, no one has any right to criticize him for this decision.
No.
So it happened after the draft and in training camp. I had read that Irsay had tried to dissuade. He wanted to retire earlier, but Irsay told him, no, just stick around a little bit longer. And, a lot of this backlash that's happened, where it's coming from, guys? It's from people with fantasy football teams. So these need to get a life.
That's exactly what it is.
Guys, this is a sport that takes its toll. And you think about this. Dave, let's say you sprain your leg, okay? They're going to put you on crutches for 6 weeks, maybe put you in a walking boot after that. These athletes, they're putting them in a walking boot, and they're playing within a week. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy.
No, it really pissed me off to hear the booing. I mean, these guys get their ass kicked. You made a decision. It was probably the right decision. I would tend to think part of the reason Indianapolis didn't ask for the money back was the fact I'm not certain that he wasn't treated very poorly by their medical
well, there could be that
over the years.
Yeah. I mean, football's a meat grinder, and I was reminded of that today, in fact. I was on a call with a former NFL player suffering from headaches, and he fears like he may actually be coming out with early-stage dementia. And it was really heartbreaking. He was talking about how football took his body, and it was about to take his mind. I'm not going to say who he is out of respect for his privacy, but he was a defensive lineman. He was a really good defensive lineman. He's 48 years old.
Oh, my God.
Let that sink in. 48 years old. Andrew Luck made the smart choice. Get off his ass.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I respect it. And you know what? I'm not convinced that the story of AB was not because of the perfect hit, which was one of the worst hits that I've ever seen.
He has been the
criminal. Fletch called him a criminal in the past, and I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah, criminal. Yeah.
But he hasn't been the same since.
No.
He's not been. No.
Certainly a different personality change a little bit.
Yeah.
It's fair. I mean, I think one thing I think people should, a lot the fantasy football nonsense, the computer nonsense, people, when I was working for an organization here, one of the guys was the owners of the Eagles. And I'm not a huge football guy. You guys know that. But anybody who criticizes these people needs to go down and stand on the field and hear and watch the punishment that happens on every single play, even at college football, high level.
Yeah.
Same thing with hockey. These people talk about, he's gutless or whatever. He won't go in the corner. Well, if you had 4 concussions, you watch a guy's face get plastered against the glass right in front of you, then you wouldn't talk so much. There's a lot of people who like to sit in a living room, play these stupid-ass games or whatever, have no idea what they're talking about. You made $90 million and your body's busted in half, and you start seeing noticeable changes in your motor skills and stuff. Shut up. Just shut up. If you've been close to it, you'd see what it costs.
Guys, I've seen firsthand some of these guys and what they're going through. And it's actually hard for me to watch football the same way that I have for years. I mean,
I'm sure.
You have guys that, one of the things that we test them with is we'll show them 5 shapes, and they have to put those shapes back in the order that they saw them as fast as they can. They can't get any of them. But yet, they'll remember details from a game they might have played in the 80s and 90s, but their short-term memory is gone. I mean, Tony Dorsett used to have a very, very profitable golf outing that he would do for a local charity here in the McGuire home. He stopped doing it because he couldn't remember who the people were that he was meeting every year. And, you know, it's just this sport that we watch, it comes at a price. And I think that Andrew reminded us of that. And I think that he was smart enough to get out. I mean, again, they weren't protecting him. I think he saw that and said, nothing's changing here. I don't need to do this. I have other options to do with my life.
Yeah.
I mean, if I made $90 million, would I be putting up with the carnage I'm going through even sitting in the corporate office? Probably not.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you know, people need to be realistic too. I mean, I'm sorry if you're jealous of that, too bad, but you can't play pro football. But by the same token, I mean, I agree. I mean, everybody always can make a comment on something it's always easy to the guy who hasn't done it.
Right.
And, you know, I think everybody who really want to appreciate heavy duty, even boxing up close, high-level athletes, not an ounce of fat on them, pounding the hell out of each other for 36 minutes. The stuff that I saw Arturo Gatti go through in the peak of his career up close.
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't get to taste it up close, football, hockey, whatever, just be quiet. I mean, you have no idea what the hell these guys are going through on a regular basis. Now, you do make a choice. I mean, I don't know. I keep thinking, well, if I was given that choice, what would I make? You know, McLaughlin, when he was the all-pro defensive tackle for the Raiders on HBO Real Sports, they said, you're getting punished here. You're getting hammered up. He said, you know what? I know, but I want to do that because I'm going to have a time. And, oh, by the way, everybody that's related to me, they're going to be taken care of. So I'm making a conscious choice.
James Harrison said the same thing.
Right. And if you make that, that's fine. Where I have a problem, and I had a problem here, the Philadelphia Flyers with Lindros, I have a problem with like maybe the NFL, is if you know the problem and you don't say it, and the Steelers may have some ugliness with this. If you know the problem and you don't say it, that to me is a huge problem in my mind.
All I know is if these teams have the ability to make the game safer and they're not doing it, that's a problem I have. I don't know if they're giving these guys the safest equipment they can, but if there's stuff out there that can minimize it a little more, minimize the head trauma, things as you said, not in the stance before.
Yep.
You know, things they can do to make it safer. I get pissed when people come out, oh, you should wear a dress back there. Well, you get back there when a 300-pound lineman is about to pounce on you 5 minutes after you threw the ball.
You know, guys, I work with Gus Frerotte, and I saw a video of Michael Strahan hitting him one time that I don't know how he didn't break him in two.
Yeah.
I've never seen a quarterback get hit like that before.
Yeah.
And Gus told me that night he was pissing blood after getting hit like that. And there are days that he can barely walk. Now, you know, and he played 15 years.
40? He's 40-some years of age.
40-some years of age, right? I mean, luckily he's not having any kind of cognitive issues. But, you know, still, and, you know, I knew Dwight White pretty well. And there were days that he said it was just excruciating even to sit up.
Yeah.
This isn't a video game. This is real. That's real punishment that's being handed out.
And you're right. You're right, Gary. They make the choice, but if you're ready to, if you don't want to go through it anymore, I can see why, and I applaud you.
That's what Fletcher's point was. I'm 100% with him.
Yeah, I agree with that wholeheartedly.
Yep.
You know, there's another old timer who tomorrow night at 8:00 on NBA TV, who we're going to get the opportunity to honor. Second Duquesne athlete ever to make it to the Basketball Hall of Fame, first being Kem Posey. Chuck Cooper. Chuck Cooper, too long, has been forgotten. Too long, his contribution. I'm reading, I was honored to be asked to do his biography, helped do it with his son. And I'm reading the Boston Celtic Encyclopedia by some Nimrod named Peter Bjarkman, who actually wrote a book on Cuban baseball.
Yeah.
Who goes in there, the only thing he mentions about Chuck Cooper inside there is the fact, well, he's really not the Jackie Robinson of basketball because of this and this and this. Well, fuck you, Peter Bjarkman, because you know what this guy went through. I don't care if he came in with Sweetwater Clifton and a few others, and those guys certainly deserve every bit the credit that Chuck Cooper gets. But those guys came in, those guys paid the price. Those guys went through everything that Jackie Robinson went through. They just didn't go through it on a public level as Jackie Robinson did because baseball was more popular at the time.
Definitely.
Chuck Cooper's efforts not only to break the color barrier in the NBA, he could have been a much more effective offensive player, but back then, you know, he often thought he had to do the grunt work because he was an African American and couldn't show off the incredible skills that he had. But this guy was a hero. This guy was every bit the hero of Jackie Robinson. This guy went through everything that Jackie Robinson did, and after he was done, he took it to the next level. He got his master's from the University of Minnesota. Then he became the first African American to be a department head in the city of Pittsburgh, the Parks and Recreation. Goes to PNC, becomes one of their first executive African Americans, and he just broke barriers. He was a mentor. He went out.
That's interesting. That's very interesting.
Well, he went out, and his main objective was to be a mentor to people so they knew what they needed to do to succeed, just like he did. And the reason you don't see Jackie or Chuck Cooper as a Jackie Robinson is because he was too modest. He didn't want the publicity. Every time somebody would come to him, he would deflect it off on something else, which is what heroes do. People who aren't heroes are the ones who come in, well, I know it was a great blah, blah, blah. You know, that's not what Chuck Cooper was. He deflected it. He didn't want it. My objective is to get this guy the recognition he deserves as one of the great pioneers in sports. And we begin tomorrow night by his election to the Hall of Fame, where he belongs. His son, Chuck Cooper III, who does a wonderful job with his foundation, who we're honored in our book on Three Rivers to be donating, and Pittsburgh First to be donating to his foundation a percentage of our royalties. He gives back to the community. And with his programs that offer scholarships to African-American students that want to get higher education scholarships, he offers mentoring programs, just like his father did. His father would be proud of him, and I am proud to be a Duquesne alum tomorrow night.
Amen, brother. Here's the other thing about that, Dave. Keep in mind, he went to Boston, which is not one of the most racially
that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
I'm only going to say.
Just leave it there. And then the other part of it is, look at the guys who are doing his induction.
Oh, is that impressive?
Is that a who's who list or what?
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Dominique Wilkins,
Larry Bird.
Larry Bird. I mean, just some of the greats. Chuck Cooper was met tonight. The third was met tonight by David Stern, Bill Walton. I mean, just Dominique was in the picture. I mean, they're just people. He said he was touched because there were so many people who wanted to do this for his father. And he said it's a very emotional thing for him.
I can't even imagine.
I'm thrilled for him too. But I mean, here's the thing. I wasn't alive when Cooper was playing, but look at what he did. He went to Boston, as Chris pointed out.
Yeah.
Didn't make a big fuss.
Yeah.
Knew he had some problems. Did what he had to do. Because back to Pittsburgh, PNC, the white breadest of the white bread. What's he do? He achieves something. He goes to a high level. I mean, today we got some idiot talking about his feet all the time or some other stuff. Like, can you look at that? Can you try to emulate that a little bit? Like what this individual did in a very difficult set of circumstances? I mean, like, that's kind of the point I make all the time. And you talk about a hero, that's one.
Yeah.
Right there. Okay?
No, I mean, he is a hero. If you talk heroes, this guy is a hero. And because he was modest, a lot of people don't recognize that he's a hero.
Yep.
So we need to recognize exactly what he is.
8 o'clock NBA TV tomorrow. Right. Everybody tune in. Everybody who listens to us or watches us, tune that in. You like Pittsburgh sports. This is an iconic figure and situation.
And hopefully you'll see him situated outside the Cooper Fieldhouse.
Oh.
That would be something else if we got a statue of him.
That would be fabulous.
Would be.
Yeah.
That would be fabulous.
So, all right, Fletch, quick round. Prediction.
Well, guys, we've all been critical of the job the Pirates have been doing in developing talent. And this week, there was a signal that maybe there's a shakeup coming. The team fired their Double-A Altoona curve manager, Michael Ryan, this week. Now, here's the thing. Some people are going to say, oh, but he had a winning record. He's won on the minor league level. He's won a couple of division titles. You know, even the Post-Gazette referred to him as a title-winning manager. But guess what? It doesn't matter. Coaching in the minor leagues is not about winning. It's about developing players. And changes definitely needed to be made. You know, with the Pirates situation, there's no room for error. You know, the Pirates aren't going to compete for talent on the free agent market.
Right.
They need to develop the talent either for their own team or for inclusion in trades, and it hasn't been happening. You know, I can't say there's a lot of talent at Altoona. Maybe infielder O'Neal Cruz, maybe.
Yeah.
The true top 10 talent, but you know, the minor league season's over, so the timing makes a lot of sense. Now let's see where they go with this thing. You know, I think the major league staff is going to be pretty much intact, unfortunately, except for Ray Searage. As I said before, he's gone. Someone's going to have to take the fall, and it's going to be him.
Yeah. Well, hopefully some scouts and some Latin American scouts will be included.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Gary.
I mean, I don't have a lot I can come up with this weekend, but I mean, I'm looking forward to Duke's game on Saturday. I mean, you know, ranked 10th in the country. I mean, you know, Walsh is a Division III program, so we should win it. But I'm kind of looking to see how they look. You know, I mean, you start getting this kind of ranking coming from when we were there. They should come out with quite a bit of swagger. Should pretty good hurting on Walsh here, despite Walsh's reputation as a, I guess, Division III school we used to call it. Looking forward to that. I mean, I'm kind of predicting that they're going to come out pretty good here. You know, I think Schmidt's done a fantastic job. I don't think it's going to be 79-7, but I think they're going to come out, and I think they're going to show that, you know what? I mean, this may not be the true test comes next week against Youngstown.
Yeah.
That's really the only opponent they've got. They set up this schedule pretty well this year, going into it the way that they're set up talent-wise. But I'm kind of hoping they come out and do some pretty good 42-6 here, 45-7, something like that. You know, yeah, this is a whatever school, but let's wipe them. I'm looking forward to that. So, and I think they're going to do it.
It's still in play. I may go to the YSU game. It's in play.
Yep. That's it. That would be one that in the region, yeah, might make some sense. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. All right. My prediction of the week. 6-1. 6-1.
We got to get somebody from TSN on here. You know.
I'm telling you, man. Mine is going to be at the same time I'm watching Army and Michigan, which Michigan will win substantially, as I sing "Hail to the Victors" and cry like Ned Beatty cried. Cry like a baby. I do.
Videos. Take videos.
Okay, I will. But today, I'm going back and forth here. Okay, here it is. BC at Montreal. Okay? We did this one before. This is going to be Friday night. I don't want anything to be interfering with my Michigan game. So, screw the Toronto game. Okay, BC, we've established in the past are pussies. Okay? The organization, people in the town that won't call themselves Vancouver, pussies. All right? Even this lion head here. Pussy lion head. I'm not afraid of it. If I'm in a room with it, I'm laughing at it.
You're taunting it, aren't you, Dave? You're taunting. You're taunting it.
I'm taunting the lion. I'm not sure what an alouette is, as we've discussed in the past.
I don't know.
I don't think it's a pussy. I don't know what it looks like. A bird in their emblem.
It does.
In the shape of an M.
It does.
That's talent, right? You took a bird, you made it in an M.
Don't say alouette.
Exactly. So, am I going to vote or root for a pussified? That's a verb, by the way. Pussified.
Yeah,
a pussified lion from a town that refuses to accept its name of Vancouver.
You are not, sir.
Talented alouette who makes an M out of a bird.
We know where you're going, Dave.
We know the choice is clear. Montreal will kick your pussified ass. Okay? 7-1. Put the one up, Fletch. Okay. What is BC? Quickly, what is BC?
Pussified.
They're pussified, but they're a sign. Put your sign up.
Okay, I get it. The Bushers.
Oh, God.
There you go. There you go.
Oh. And who wouldn't have an affair with a pussified lion? I'm on the way. Who would not?
Oh. Hey, Dave, I'm going to give one more prediction.
Okay.
I hate to say this, but I think Ohio U is going to beat Pitt.
I think you could be right.
Oh, God, I
don't care. Because I'm going to be living the dream. I'm living the dream, my friend.
Take some pictures. And honestly, 1949, Army, Michigan. It's great.
Okay. I'll leave you with this one thing. Squeal like a pig. Squeal like a pig. I'll use both comments in my video. All right. Have a good night.
All right.